Hello friends, welcome back. It is time to harvest my sweet potatoes. This is a project that began in early February when I placed my sweet potatoes that I had grown last year into a container with soil, and I put it under a heat mat to produce the slips. The slips grew, and in May, when there was no more danger of frost, I set out to plant all of my sweet potatoes. I planted some behind here, behind these echinacea flowers, and I'll show you in a minute. And these are the ones in the front. In the back orchard, I have planted a whole row of them, so I'm hoping to get a lot of them out of the back orchard. But I'm hoping to turn these beds into garlic beds pretty soon, so I need to harvest the sweet potatoes from the front right now. This is what the front looks like right now. It is overgrown and it is a weedy mess, and I need to change it over. So here are the sweet potatoes. They have grown quite well and gotten into the path. I have some cayenne peppers growing in between them and some other peppers over there that never really took off because this was casting a shade. So next year, in order to prevent the shade from coming here, I am removing all of these coneflowers and moving them to a spot in the back. I'm also going to be making a coneflower or echinacea tincture with some vodka, so stay tuned for that video. It's going to be an immunity booster. All it is the root from 2-year-old plants steeped in some vodka, and then you have a tincture. So this year I'm planning to make some of that for myself. There's a lot of flu going around, and I want to boost my immune system so that I am ready to take on the cold weather. I've also realized that I am out of shape, and now I need to use a little stool to sit on because I can no longer just stand on my tippy toes or crouch on my tippy toes because my calves were killing me the last 2 days after I filmed the video of the how to overwinter your peppers. So now I got myself a nice little stool so I can do the steaks like this, and I don't have to be hurting the next week or so. So these are the sweet potato leaves. The sweet potato leaves are actually edible, but you're supposed to eat the little young shoots. So I'll harvest a few of these shoots and eat them later today. I don't really enjoy the taste of them so much, but I know that they're a really good vegetable. But it's kind of an acquired taste for me. Last year, I saved some of the vines from my sweet potatoes, and I actually was able to propagate them out from these vines. You just have to keep them alive all winter long. And the issue with that is that they rot sometimes. So if you do end up keeping some of these, you have to change out the water every couple of days so that they don't rot. And I'm definitely going to save some again. I've been growing these sweet potatoes. I bought the sweet potatoes in fall of 2020 at the grocery store, and I grew out the slips on 2020. I planted them out in 2021, grew out the sweet potatoes, and this spring I actually started the sweet potato slips from those sweet potatoes that I had saved. So this is a continuous process of the same plants that I have been growing for 2 years now. You want to harvest your sweet potatoes before the frost, but you want to give them as much time before the first frost. Next week we have weather in the 35-degree range, so I know that we're getting pretty darn close to the maximum amount of time that we can leave them in the ground. You can also harvest the sweet potatoes after the frost, the first frost, but make sure you do it quite quickly because they tend to lose a little bit of flavor from what I hear. If you leave them in the ground too much, they can also get a little bit of frost damage themselves. I've removed as much of the vines as possible, so now it's trying to dig them up. Oh, that's a good sweet potato. That's a big one. This is a perfect example of how sweet potatoes grow. You put your slip into the ground, and the slip produces roots, and the tubers is where the plant stores its energy, and then you have this cluster of roots and tubers growing underneath. Isn't that awesome? And This is just so beautiful. You put something into the ground and you get a harvest only if you wait and you give it patience, time, and some sunshine. So here's my harvest for this tiny little bed. This bed is probably 2.5 feet by 5 feet. And let's check this out. I have maybe 5 pounds of sweet potatoes, and I have all those cayenne peppers that I'm gonna be dehydrating and making a powder. And in the spring, I harvested maybe about 40 heads of garlic out of here. So this produced this sweet potatoes and that over there, plus the garlic. You can grow a lot of food in a very small space. Like I just mentioned to you, if you do a succession planting and you put in plants after each harvest, you can increase the yield per bed. So right now I'm taking this out, and I'm only taking it out because I want to plant my garlic. So as soon as I take this out, I'm going to be planting my garlic and I'm going to start growing something in here again. In order to cure my sweet potatoes, I'm going to hose them off very lightly with my gardening hose, and then I'm going to put them in a crate, just a plastic crate that gets a lot of airflow. And once they are dry, I'll bring them downstairs to my basement and I'll let them sit there for about 2 to 3 weeks. And in 3 weeks, I'm going to start eating my sweet potatoes, probably just in time for a sweet potato pie for Thanksgiving. Also, check out these beautiful cayenne peppers. I will be taking these individually and then dehydrating them and then making them a powder. And I'm going to try to overwinter these as well inside my house so that I can plant them out again next year. I grew these from seed that I had saved 3 years ago from a cayenne pepper I had grown then. So you don't have to spend a ton of money in your garden. You can just save your own seeds. These are perfectly fine, but sometimes you get something weird when you save seeds. Let me show you something. This was planted with the cayenne peppers that I had saved, and this one is a mutant. This is supposed to be a cayenne pepper, but somehow it has become fatter than its counterparts. Check out how big and thick this one is, and I'll show you a regular cayenne pepper. So this one may be crossed with a different one, but see, now I have a different cultivar of cayenne pepper, and now I'm going to be growing this out, and I'm going to call it Elias cayenne peppers. I don't know how spicy these are, so we're gonna have to figure it out. Look, this is pretty dirty, but I like dirt, so let's try it. It's actually sweet. There's a spice. It is spicy. This is what it looks like after harvesting. I have all of the little vines here, and I need to clear this bed as well because this one needs to be garlic. And then I'll be removing this coneflowers in order to give enough sunlight because the sun comes this way. So I definitely need to do a lot of work in the garden today, and then I'll be planting my garlic here. Make sure that you like this video and that you're subscribed to the channel so that you can see my future videos and you can see the future projects that I have planned for this winter. There's a lot to be had in the garden right now. There's a lot of harvesting that I still need to do, and there's a lot of planting that I'm still doing. Very soon I need to add the plastic to my greenhouse. I also need to put out a bunch of transplants that I have for the cold weather crops. I also have frost blankets that I'm going to be putting up, and there's a lot to be done in the garden right now. The summer is over, but that doesn't mean that gardening is over. Here in Zone 7 we garden year round, and you can grow food and feed yourself and your family year round. I hope that you enjoy this video and that you give growing vegetables a try. You can grow a lot of food in a very small amount of space.